first started with Age Concern. So how did your journey first begin?
Well, I retired from formal work. I was managing a counselling agency, and Jan Free from the North Shore nabbed me to come on the board. So I joined the board of Age Concern North Shore, and that got me underway. That was about 2014.
Right.
And then a couple of years later I became chair there, and we started this process of thinking about how things should look in Auckland, and that led into the whole amalgamation.
I was going to ask you about that, because I'm sitting here with the minute book of what was Age Concern from the 1950s. And so certainly, it must have been about 5 or 6 years ago now when we had those conversations about amalgamation.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, what in your mind has been the main changes that have taken place after we decided to amalgamate?
Yes, well, it has been interesting because I think our vision in terms of the amalgamation was really that it would give Age Concern the opportunity to grow and become a bigger entity that could attract bigger funding and serve a wider community and serve the community better. Really, that was the essence of it as I saw it at the time.
And so we're here really talking because we're celebrating 75 years of Age Concern in Auckland. What are your thoughts about where do we go next? So if you have that crystal ball and you have that unlimited source of resources, what do you think that agencies like Age Concern Auckland need to do to ensure that older people are supported over the next 75 years?
Well, it's interesting, like a lot of not-for-profit agencies, nobody really knows about them until they need them, and then they start sussing them out. So I think the higher profile is a key thing for Age Concern going forward, so that people know where to come, where to get help for their mum and dad or neighbour or that sort of thing. The elderly neighbour who isn't looking after themselves and that sort of thing, or relatives who are worried about how their parents or in-laws or whoever are being treated.
And I'm sitting here, I get paid to do this job. You do it for free, and you've committed so much time and energy over the past 10 years to Age Concern in Auckland. Why do you keep doing it?
Well, it's interesting. I suppose most of all it's interesting, but it's also very satisfying. It's very satisfying, and I must say I had a thought at one stage of stepping away from it because of health reasons, and I just was keen to see Age Concern carry on flourishing the way it is. And so that's really what held me here in this position, or made me step up to the chair position, actually.
And so when you reflect on how far we've come after we amalgamated across Auckland, and you look backwards, do you feel it's been a success, that the amalgamation worked the way we hoped?
Well, I think really we've expanded services in the 3 areas that used to make up the 3 independent Age Concerns: North Shore, Auckland and Counties Manukau. All the services have grown, if not doubled, in the few years since our amalgamation. So that's really that is our vision really fulfilled. But of course there's always onwards to greater things.
Oh, there's always more to do. And we have no idea who's going to be sitting watching us having this conversation. But if you could take the opportunity to talk to the people on the other side of the screen who may be interested on becoming board members of Age Concern Auckland, what would you say to them? Why is it a thing that you think people should be doing?
Well, it's very satisfying. We have got a very good team here at Age Concern Auckland, and I think they're doing such a wonderful job. but there's always room to expand. We're always open to new ideas, and I think that's the key, and that's what somebody being on the board can help achieve.
Mm. And so from your perspective, being board chair, what do you think of, what's your role when it comes down to age concern? So, I mean, I know you keep me in check, but what do you think is what's the fundamental role of the chair and of the board?
Well, it is essentially, I think all not-for-profits are really driven by the CEO, but that's in conjunction with the board. And so really the board chair's role is to keep the board in good spirits and functioning well and feeling they're part of it all, and being in touch with what the organisation is doing, and supporting it or challenging it or suggesting new areas such as research and things like that.
Mm. I mean, I must say, I mean, chief executive here, I mean, I've worked with many boards in a number of organisations, and in my past career I've sat down and thought, oh dear, it's a board meeting tonight, and dreaded going to it. I thoroughly enjoy coming to the Age Concern Auckland board meetings, because the board that we have here are so engaged, are so passionate and so committed to the work that we're doing.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, I would just like to take the opportunity, as I've got you here, to say a huge thank you and a massive debt of respect that I have for you and our, the fellow board members, for the work that you all do, because I think we often forget, we talk about celebrating our wonderful volunteers, and we have many volunteers who put in countless hours supporting individual older people. We often forget to recognise that our board, who steer us, who oversee what we're doing, are also volunteers who do this because they care so deeply about the older people of Auckland. So I think from me, I think a huge thank you to you and to the rest of our board, to say the work that you do is absolutely, it's vital to what we can do. And as a leading the operations, we couldn't do what we do without a supportive board. So thank you, Mary, for all that you've done.
Well, thank you, Kevin. That's very lovely to hear. And I do think, the board are passionate about age concern and what it's doing. And they really get enjoyment and a kick out of it too.
That's wonderful. And hopefully many boards to come over the next 75 years, and many chief executives over the next 75 years will continue the process of driving age concern forward, and hopefully supporting many older people as we develop further into the future. But for now, Mary, thank you ever so much for spending the time to just share your thoughts with us. Thank you.
Well, my pleasure. Thanks.